All right, everybody. Real quick intro video. I just want to kind of tell you what I'm doing, what the ShipFlip page is all about, what we're doing at ShipFlip, how that differs from some of the different stuff you see other people doing in the reselling world, and a lot of the similarities as well. I'm hoping other resellers will watch these videos, drop me tips in the comments and stuff. I'm always looking to learn new, especially new products. If you got a hot product out there, I got $1 to buy it. So let's go ahead and help each other out here. I'm sure you're in the same boat. You can't find the products you know are hot all the time. You're looking for other ones to flip. We can help each other out in that regard. Us guys that are involved in this, we can kind of boost each other to the next level. I don't really partake in the small time arbitrage. I do go do yard sailing sometimes, a little bit like that, just because I think it's fun and I genuinely enjoy it. But I don't actually do it as my this is the business plan, right? That's just kind of like more side stuff to add more filler to it. But for me, I really like to stay plugged into that because I feel like that's where the best ideas are born. That's that lower level, ground level entry stuff is where the best ideas are born. It really is. It's where all my best ideas were born. And I guarantee there's other people out there that came up with other stuff that is just their ideas is just tits, right? And I just need to have it, and you need to have my ideas, and that's why we're here, right? So like I said, what we're doing is that run-of-the-mill retail and wholesale arbitrage. I guess used product arbitrage is the best way to put that. Acquiring that in different markets, and we'll talk about that and all that different stuff. And it's nothing different than the stuff you see, guys like Gary Vee, some of the guys that I follow closely, like Reezy Resell, shout out to him. He does a lot of really good videos that help me out a lot and gave me the idea to start doing some myself. Guys like Matt Slavo on Twitter and stuff that I've been following, and I'm like, man, these guys are really good at creating content that's helpful for other people, and maybe I should do that too. So that's what I'm trying to do here with it. But I'm also looking for tips as well. So I want us to be able to share with each other. But before I get into any of my things that I do, before I talk about any of the platforms we use, and I'll try to kind of keep those separate and talk about different ones on different videos and stuff, and really plug you into how I take a bunch of moving parts and kind of move them all into one as a singular ShipFlip. But before I get into all of that, I want to just say that this form of business, like this style of business, this way of making money or acquiring things is ancient. It's been around since the dawn of time. It was the original form of business, actually. And just to give you a little background on me, I did go to school for business. I got a good business background, helped my parents run their bar for 15 years. They were successful running that bar for over 28 years, with me in charge and me helping out, making a lot of the decisions for about 15 years. And, and other people obviously helping us as well along that way. I wasn't always plugged in, but I was always there for ideas and help. So that was kind of my background, very business oriented background, and so I've always had my ear to the street on those type of things. But what I was saying earlier is that this type of business has been around since the dawn of time, and it has. This is no different. All that arbitrage is buying in one market where you see a deficiency in the price, and selling in another market where you see that market values that item more than the market you purchased it from. So let me give you like a medieval times rundown of why that's the exact same business that's been going on forever. Because that's no different than if your kingdom that you came from, like wherever you lived in ancient times, had a lot of I don't know, what was your asset? Spice. And so so spice was in high supply in your kingdom, right? It didn't carry a high dollar amount, but if you took that spice to another kingdom and traded that spice with whatever that kingdom produced in quantity, all of a sudden that spice that you brought from your kingdom, that really, because it's so plentiful in your kingdom, doesn't have a lot of value there, all of a sudden you're able to get something from a different kingdom that had value to your kingdom, because the spice had value to their kingdom. And what did you do? You took spice, which had one value in your market, your kingdom, right? And you put that on camelback and you drove it over to another kingdom and you flipped it in another kingdom where it held higher value, right? And you were able to bring back more for it. You flipped it in your own kingdom, you would have got back like equal value for it, right? And it would have been a waste of your time. You would have gotten back like other spice or something. Different spice, I don't know, different spices, or I don't know, just something stupid that you didn't need. But you took it to another kingdom, you took it to another market, right? And you sold it for a higher dollar price, because if you sold it in your own market, it wouldn't be worth shit. So that's like a perfect example, right? But it doesn't stop there. Like I actually go around a lot, and a lot of these places I see, and when I'm doing, actually when I run into this most is when I'm doing the garage sale arbitrage, which to me is just fun. I do that because I like it. I think it's genuinely fun. I don't think that there's any way, like, and I know Gary Vee says you can make $63,000 a year just on yard sales, but I feel like that's a lot of like nickel and diming to get to that, and like that's the hard way to do it in my opinion. And I think there's a lot of guys on Twitter that I talk to that kind of agree with that. Like, lower your profit margins. Don't be looking for the big flip as much. Be looking for the big grab, right? Like, be looking for the big grab. Acquire a ton of product at a lower percentage, and you're going to make more overall dollar than you are if you acquire like a little bit of product at a high percentage, right? Like, so that makes sense to me. And that's kind of where I got the idea for this business. So as I'm going around to these different yard sales and stuff in different places, I'm noticing that other people, specifically, this is the one I want to give you the example of. Amish arbitrage is a huge thing. And I notice it because I notice these Amish people showing up to some of the same like bulk buys and sales and stuff that I go to, and they're just filling carloads of shit, and then they're taking it back to the sticks and selling it to people that don't know any better, and all they're doing is selling it at like yard sales and stuff. But they're not using the internet, but they're still doing the same damn thing, right? They're still taking stuff from like a free market or in a market where they can acquire it in large quantities. Or I've even seen them at yard sales. They'll literally buy from one yard sale, take it to their yard sale, and sell it for more. The Amish, I will say, if you're looking in central PA, the Amish, when it comes to business, I have more respect for the Amish than I do anyone. Because the Amish, number one, they run an honest, legitimate business. Like 99.9% of them run honest, legitimate business. Number two, they all do it the old school, old-fashioned way, and they're good at it. Like, that just blows my mind that they're able to. Like, how the hell does an Amish person that doesn't even have electricity know what video game to pick out of a yard sale to flip? Like, that's mind-blowing to me. But they do, and they figure it all out. They know exactly what to do, and they know how to do it. And they don't even use the internet to do it. That's crazy. So you really want to know who the real OG hustlers are out here? Go talk to the Amish. They'll learn you a thing or two about this game that we're involved in here. Okay? So secondly, like I said, this has been around forever. The Amish are literally doing it. Medieval times, people literally did it. It's just the platform has changed, right? The only difference here today is that the platform has changed. The platform is now online, and if you really think about it, like, you're acquiring goods that, to me, it's all about the number of eyeballs that you can get on an item, right? So if you're selling an item and it's like, even if it's worth $100 and you're putting it out at your yard sale, you're getting like whatever the amount of eyeballs that walk through your yard sale, that's what you're getting for that item. Like, that's the amount of eyeballs that you're getting setting sight on that item. But on the internet, you're opening your market up to like the entire United States, the entire world, really, because if you're not afraid to sell overseas, and I'm definitely not. I've sold Chewbacca to a guy in Israel, for God's sake, and he was super happy with it, by the way. If you're not afraid to do that kind of stuff, if you're not afraid for guys in like Israel to have your address, which I don't fucking care. What are they going to do? Come over here? I don't really care. So anyways, then it doesn't really matter, right? Like, it doesn't really matter at all. You have this marketplace of the entire United States versus a marketplace of the guys that are going to walk into your yard sale. And you tell me what are higher odds of selling that item. And also, what are the odds that you're going to find somebody that's willing to pay more than the next guy for that item? And that's kind of where the feeling is on that. So it's all about opening up things to more sets of eyes. And that's how I think of this, and that's why it works, because you're basically expanding the base of customer that you can sell to like a bajillion, right? And now all you got to do is find one guy out of a million that wants it, instead of one guy out of 4 that walked into your yard sale or walked into your store that day, or whatever you want to sell out of, a brick and mortar store, or even if you had it, I don't know, on like a commercial or something, like it's still only going to see the amount of people that watch that commercial. And so it's all a numbers game, and that's how you manipulate this game. So then so that's what most people are doing, right? They're going to yard sales, they're going to retail stores, they're flipping. But for me, it's more like I got to get my hands on more of this. So some of the things I'm doing I'll go over in other videos, but for me it's more about bulk grabs, buying stuff by the pound, doing clean outs, estate sales, store closings, stuff like that. Whatever you can do to get your hands on bulk amounts of stuff to flip it online. And then also filling all the orders yourself. I don't rely on FBA. I don't ship off to Amazon. I don't have their people fill my orders, because that cuts into your profit a little bit more. Now, it is like if you're selling a ton of stuff and you don't have the storage space for it, that's the smart way to do it. But if you're not, then there's really no point to do that. Like if you have storage space and you have the equipment to ship, you might as well save yourself the hassle there. Well, it's not even a hassle. If you want to pay more to save yourself the hassle, you do it that way. But if you want to just like sell, you sell at your margin and not lose any extra on it because you're paying an Amazon employee to fill the order, then you should do it that way. But that's so far beyond where we're starting here that don't even worry about that right now. But the first thing that I just wanted to address here was, kind of going over what we were doing, how that differed from what you see some of the small time, like, because a lot of these guys that you see that talk about flipping, what they're talking about is like, go to work 9 to 5, come home on the weekend, do a little yard sailing, list like 5 or 10 items, sell like 2 or 3 items a week, and maybe you spent 100 at yard sales that weekend, and you listed 2 or 3 items that week, and you made like $200 or $300 that week extra off of stuff that you found at yard sales. That's all cool. That's cool, like if you want to do it that way, and that's fine. But to run it as an actual standalone business took a little bit more effort. It took a little bit more planning, and it took a little bit more, blood, sweat, and tears, because it obviously wasn't enough to stand alone for a long time, and it took me over a year to get it to that point. But now I am successfully hitting the numbers that I initially targeted. I hope to soon get into the 6-figure range in sales. Once I can hit that, I can really be tuned in and just kind of honing in on my processes and really making those like perfect, so that I can really, really make money, because it's all about your process, right? Like you have to have a good process and believe in it and know that it works. You can't just be helter-skelter doing everything different every day. It has to be a process, and that's one of the keys to this as well. Probably said a lot there in this first video, or probably said nothing at all, but that's the intro to what's going on here. The 7 different platforms that we utilize are eBay, Amazon, Poshmark, Mercury, Sideline Swap, Facebook Marketplace, and Craigslist. And I can actually tell you some different things, but a lot of it's stuff that there are other videos out there of, but some of these platforms you can literally, like I said, you're buying from one kingdom and selling in another, Well, or acquiring your spices in one kingdom and trading it for uh, gold in another kingdom, it's the same damn thing. But that doesn't exclude, like, that whole thing is prevalent even between platforms. Like, you can often buy and acquire stuff, like, say, on Craigslist or Facebook, that you can then flip on eBay or Mercury or something like that for more money. And so, like, there's really, like, endless amounts of ways that you can kind of commingle and intermingle it. Um, but the main thing is making sure that you can acquire enough products to flip and stay afloat, and making sure that you fill your orders, and making sure that you please your customers and you don't do anything shady on that end to burn your bridges there. But it's a very, very easy thing to do. It's a very time consuming thing. It's something that is like it's something that you're gonna have to put some time into it. You're gonna have to get up at times you don't want to be out. You're gonna have to do things you don't want to do. But it's, to me, it's way better to build this up doing this than it would be to go out and work for somebody else, and just be miserable, have no work life balance, have no have no, like, input into what's going on. I want to be able to get what I put into something. And even in the corporate world, I don't care if your thing is set up like pay for performance. I don't care if it's set up like with incentives. I don't care if it's set up with like tiered benefits based on different things. Like, sometimes things, you have different benefits if you hit certain things. I don't care if you have any of that. It's still, at the end of the day, you're kind of just working for somebody else as a drone, and it's still not really, like, for you.